What's going on, everybody? It's the Hook Cam back again with a prospect preview, player preview, I guess now. Jalen Reagor picked 21st overall last night by the Philadelphia Eagles, and this kid is an absolute freak athlete. Ran a 4.47 at the combine, pushed 17 times, 225. He's got a vert of 42 inches. His broad jump's 138 inches. This kid is just an absolute freak all around the board, and his athletic ability speaks for itself. I absolutely love this pick. I think it was so clear last year that the Eagles needed help at receiver, and it wasn't necessarily due to a lack of talent. It was more a lack of health, and there was injuries to Deshaun Jackson, to Alshon Jeffrey, and you end up going out there with guys who maybe aren't as prepared as those guys were, just straight up aren't as talented. So what they do is they go and they address the receiver position, and they do it in a way with a kid who is supremely athletic, who put up absurd numbers at TCU, and he did so with a very lacking quarterback core, and there was a lot of turnover at the quarterback position for Jalen Reagor. And what those TCU coaches did is they found the best way to put him in a position to win, to put him in a position to be athletic, and to put him in one-on-one situations where he was going to be able to out-athlete, outperform, and outplay whoever he was lined up against. Now, before I dive into this video, if you could hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, of course, to the Hook Cam. I would very much so appreciate that, as well as to Jackson Kruger Sports. I'm sure that this video will end up over there as well. Jackson put up like some 20 videos yesterday for the draft. I mean, the kid is just pumping out content. I can't say enough how crazy his work ethic is, and it's truly incredible. So with all of that being said, let's dive into a little bit of Jalen Reagor and how he was so good at TCU. And once again, the core of football offensively sometimes is just being able to put an athlete in space. And in this situation, we're going to see Jalen Reagor just do a little bit of a backpedal. This is like a bubble for a lot of guys, but in college sometimes they just have him backpedal away from the line of scrimmage. Boom. Now what we've done here is pre-snap, we've taken the numbers, right? We like the numbers in this situation, and this is something that Philadelphia will do just in a little bit of a different situation, right? And I think that Philly's at their best as an offense when they take advantage of numbers. Now, when you look at this thing from pre-snap, we're going to see 3-on-2, right? We got our 3 receivers out here against our 2 defensive backs. We're going to work up and block with these 2 cats, have our best athlete backpedal out here in space, get him the rock, let him get you this first down. Love everything about it. Love his speed, his acceleration off the bat, and then lowering his shoulder to finish off that run. Another cherry on top for this kid. Now, can he go get the deep ball? That's another big question. Here he is on a skinny post, a little blurry there, but he goes up, high points that ball. Again, having Jalen Reagor one-on-one with a corner or safety, and on the Eagles, it'll be against that number 2 or 3 corner for that other team. I think that's a matchup he's going to win. Now here we are on the goal line, a quick little goal line fade. He's going to give that quick stutter, pop this thing back out to the outside, and go once again high point that football. That's something that's really difficult to do, and it's not like Jalen Reagor's a 6'4" guy, 6'3" guy. It's not like he's Alshon Jeffrey and he's going to be able to just go up and get that football. He's a 5'11", 6' guy, and I know this might be a little nightmarish, but he very similar to a Nelson Aguilar. Right, I just think that he has a tendency to be a little bit more athletic. You know, Nelson Aguilar, as much as he gets some shade from Philly fans, he did a lot of good things for the Philadelphia Eagles, and he was there a lot of times. And I think that, you know, short-term memory happens to jade that, but he did a lot of good things. But, you know, bringing it back to Jalen Reagor once again, here we go, having him go and high point that football against the defensive back. Very difficult to do, but it's something that he gets done. Now this play, just talking a little bit about football IQ, I had to cut this one a little bit down just because of YouTube restrictions, okay? But let me just dial this thing up for you. Quarterback's rolling out this way. Jalen Reagor's the number 1 receiver. He ran a comeback over here, okay? Since it's scramble drill, he runs a comeback, turns this thing into a vertical, exactly what you're supposed to do. Smart football play from him, right? He shuts this thing down as the quarterback's coming back to him, and this ball is highly contested. Probably shouldn't have been thrown, but Jalen Reagor goes up and gets it anyway. He's aggressive. He goes up. He's competitive. He gets the football. That's what matters. Now, here's a quick thing of him. What's his straight line speed like, right? Here he is against Texas. He's playing, this dude's got inside leverage, playing off coverage. And, I mean, this is just talking about running a 40. Go get it. Go beat this dude. Make him flip his hips and cover you. And there's not a chance that kid ever was going to guard Jalen Reagor. Just a phenomenal, not even a really polished route. Doesn't have to be. Just go beat that guy in space. You're faster than him. You're better than him. Now, how does this fit into the Philadelphia Eagles offense? Let's take a look really quick here. week 1, okay, and Aguilar now obviously playing for the Las Vegas Raiders, but this is something that I see Jalen Reagor fitting into, right? Deshaun Jackson out at 1, Alshon Jeffrey out at your other number 1 at the top of the formation. Okay, now we got Jalen Reagor against arguably the 3rd best corner on that team. We're throwing hot to him here just because we get pressure. I mean, Reagor in space is going to be able to do this and then some. Okay, we saw him on that bubble screen be able to turn that thing into a quick 11, 12 yards at the blink of an eye. I think that he's going to be able to do things like that for the Philadelphia Eagles. And again, it's all about putting him in space, letting him go to work. And that's where I think that he really excels. And to be honest, that's where I think this Philadelphia Eagles offense is at its best. They do a great job, and we'll see a couple of clips here when they line up their receivers in a pinch or a bunch formation where their 2 receivers or 3 receivers are tight within 1.5 yards of each other. When they do that, they can create space. They can create a little bit of a pick route. You create traffic for defensive backs to work over. Here's an example here against the Falcons. Again, not tight alignment here, but just we're bringing heat inside and we throw this thing hot. But again, this is where I see Reagor being able to excel because it's one-on-one coverage, right? This is just a very easy corner from Aguilar. This dude's backing up thinking that he's going to get torched deep. Not a chance. We break this thing to the outside. You can't tell me that Jalen Reagor's not going to be able to do this and then some. Okay, and I think that Reagor's probably better in the open field than Nelson Aguilar is. Now, here's an example that I really like, just like what I was saying before, right? We see this bunch formation, and this is really where I think the Eagles were at their best. When you create this traffic for defensive backs to work through, you create some confusion, right? We're going to sneak Nelson Aguilar over here just again on a nice little corner route, but you create that traffic and you create that confusion. This is where I think they operate at their cleanest, at their best, when they get their athletes in space. And if they can do that with Jalen Reagor, I think it's going to be a very successful first year and multiple years coming for him. Okay, now here's another example. This is just a really simple mesh route, and I'm just going to draw attention to these 2 receivers right here. Okay, we got Ertz and we got Aguilar. Ertz here is at the bottom. Aguilar's here at the top. Really simple mesh route. This is just an easy man beater, okay? We love the spacing here, and again, what does it do? It's creating traffic, and it's creating space for your receiver. Look at this dude was in man coverage on Nelson Aguilar. There's not a chance he's getting there. And I see them putting Jalen Reagor in those same types of positions where it's not necessarily man-on-man coverage, but if you can get him isolated against one other guy, you have to feel strongly that he's going to be able to do that, especially with his yards after the catch ability, which we saw game in and game out from Reagor at TCU. Not only that, but the kid's just an athletic freak. He was putting up absurd clean numbers. He was putting up absurd 40 numbers, right? Moving on a little bit, this to me is a route by Nelson Aguilar that I think Jalen Reagor will have to work into. I don't think that he can do this quite yet as polished. Obviously, he can do it. It's not like you're not going to let him. But this is going to be a dig route that Aguilar takes into the middle of the field, right? Stems him inside a little bit, really sells that vertical, and then breaks this thing off right into the middle of the field, right? And I think that Jalen Reagor needs to work into that. I think that Nelson Aguilar is probably a little bit better at that just because he'd been in the league longer, right? When you're playing in the Big 12 like Jalen Reagor was, everybody's running cover 4. Nobody wants to press. Nobody wants to run man coverage because they're going to get torched. You had guys like CeeDee Lamb in that conference. You had offenses like Oklahoma that are just taking advantage of man-to-man coverage. Of course you're going to drop into 4. You don't want to get torched. So that's how I think that Jalen Reagor is going to make this jump to the NFL. I think that he's going to be very effective if they put him in that position and they kind of highlight him. And Aguilar was good for 3-4 catches a game. Sometimes he'd pop off for 8 catches for 70 or 80 yards and 2 touchdowns. I think that Jalen Reagor could do just that and then some in that position. It all depends on where they end up putting him and how healthy the guys are around him. But now I think that the Eagles have built that depth. I like this draft pick. I like it a lot in terms of Philadelphia and how they're building that offense. But once again, I think that it's most polished when they're running that bunch, when they're running those short motions, and they're really creating a lot of traffic for defensive backs and defenses to work around. So anyway, guys, that's all I got for this video. I hope that you enjoyed. I hope that the Eagles are making the picks that you want, right? Because that's what it's about at the end of the day, building the team to get back to that Super Bowl run in a division that's very, very winnable. And I hope that you guys, like I said, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did enjoy this video, if you could hit that like button, hit that subscribe button to the Hook Cam, my channel, as well as to Jackson Kruger Sports. Like I said before, kid's pumping out 20 videos on draft day. I don't know how he does it. I don't know what his formula is. I don't know how he's running around doing all this this in the shortest amount of time. The kid is just a Terminator when it comes to making videos and making content. So with all that being said, guys, I hope you enjoyed. Hope everybody's staying safe, staying clean, washing those hands. Hope that we're dialed in to watch the next couple of days of the draft. And that's all I got for you guys today, and I will see you next time.